Ba'ina, Chilla, Fadlul Arba'ina and all that. और बहुत डीप में जा रहे थे शेख शिहाबुद्दीन सुहरवर्दी रहमतुल्लाह अलैह। मैंने कहा वो बहुत डीप है, इसमें एक बाब बहुत अच्छा है, बाबुल उज़ला। मैंने कहा ये बाब पढ़ लेते हैं। तो इसमें भी वही सूफियों की बातें हैं, मगर ये थोड़ा जरा उससे हल्का है थोड़ा। बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम। अल्लामा इब्न कुदामा अल-मक़दिसी अल-हम्बली रहमतुल्लाहि अलैह writes in Mukhtasar Minhaajul Qaasideen in Rub'ul Ibadat, Babul Uzlah, chapter on Uzlat. Uzlat ki maana gosha nashini, staying in solitude, alone, away from everyone. And Sufi have this something called Uzlat. اختلف الناس في العزلة والمخالطة أيهما أفضل. Sufis differ in which is better, solitude or mingling and mixing with community, which is more virtuous. مع أن كل واحدة منهما لا تنفك عن فوائد وغوائل. Despite the fact that both of them are not void and empty and free of benefits and perils. وأكثر الزهاد اختاروا العزلة. Most Sufis preferred عزلة. وممن ذهب إلى اختيار العزلة سفيان الثوري، إبراهيم بن أدهم، داود الطائي، والفضيل بن عياض، وبشر الحافي في آخرين. These preferred عزلة. وممن ذهب إلى استحباب المخالطة سعيد بن المسيب والشريح والشعبي وابن المبارك في آخرين. And these elders preferred mixing with community and benefiting the community. ولكل طائفة فيما ذهبت إليه حجج ونحن نشير إلى ذلك. Every group has دليلs, we will indicate to them. أما حجة الأولين فقد روي في الصحيحين من حديث أبي سعيد قال قيل يا رسول الله أي الناس خير؟ قال رجل يجاهد بنفسه وماله ورجل في شعب من الشعاب يعبد ربه ويدع الناس من شره. First group's dalil for uzlat and solitude is the hadith of Sahihain from Abu Sa'id Khudri radiyallahu anhu. Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wasallam was asked, Ya Rasulullah, who is the best among people? And he said, number one, a man who struggles with his self and his mal in the path of Allah, a mujahid. And number two, second person is a man who is in one of the hilltops of the hills and mountains, alone on his own. He worships his Rabb and he leaves people alone from his shar and evil. وفي حديث عقبة بن عامر قال قلت يا رسول الله ما النجاة؟ قال أملك عليك لسانك وليسعك بيتك وابكي على خطيئتي. Ya Rasulullah, how can I gain salvation, najat, safety? And he said three things. Control your tongue and stay indoors and in your house and cry over your sins. Umar ibn al-Khattab radiyallahu anhu, قال عمر ibn al-Khattab radiyallahu anhu, خذوا بحظكم من العزلة. Take your fair share of uzlat and solitude. Meaning you must have some time for yourself. In solitude, alone, no one with you, no one around you, only you and your Allah. وقال سعد بن أبي وقاص لوددت أن بيني وبين الناس بابا من حديد لا يكلمني أحد ولا أكلمه حتى ألقى الله سبحانه وتعالى. Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas, the great Sahabi from Ashra Mubashshara, said, I wish there was between me and people a gate of iron. No one speaks to me and I don't speak to anyone until I meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This was towards the end of his life. In the beginning, he was in the jihad, he was a mujahid, he used to go in the path of Allah. But then later on, Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas, when Islam had spread, everything had settled down, he went outside Medina Sharif. He used to live in the valley of Aqiq. On his own, he had his own place, and he kept himself to himself. He would only come to Medina Sharif for Juma and other stuff and pray in that neighborhood masjid. He said, I wish there was between me and people a gate of iron. Nobody speaks to me, I don't speak to anyone until I meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وقال ابن مسعود رضي الله عنه كونوا ينابيع العلم مصابيح الليل أحلاس البيوت جدد القلوب خلقان الثياب تعرفون في أهل السماء وتخفون على أهل الأرض. Ibn Mas'ud said, be fountains of knowledge, lanterns of the night, and the rugs of the household, fresh at heart, old in clothes. You are known among the people of the heavens, and you are hidden upon the people of the earth. بہت زبردست بات کہی. علم کے سر چشمے بنو جس سے علم پھوٹے. جیسے فاؤنٹن سے پانی پھوٹتا ہے تو تمہارے سے علم پھوٹنا چاہیے کہ سب لوگ پانی پیتے ہیں تو تمہارا علم سب لوگ حاصل کریں. اور مصابیح اللیل، رات کے چراغ بنو. رات کو چراغ جلتا ہے تو تم کھڑے ہو کر تہجد پڑھو تاکہ تمہارے نور، تمہاری تلاوت اور تہجد کا نور جو ہے پھیلے. اور احلاس البیوت، احلاس ہلس کی جمع ہے. ہلس کی معنی رگ. اب رگ جو ہے وہ گھر میں جہاں رکھ دیتے ہیں وہ مہینوں تک، سالوں تک وہیں پڑا رہتا ہے. تو تم بھی اپنے گھر میں ہی پڑے رہو جیسے رگ اپنی جگہ پڑا رہتا ہے، گھر سے باہر نکلو ہی مت. Be like the rugs of your homes and fresh at heart. دل جو ہے تازہ ہونا چاہیے. جدد یہ جدید کی جمع ہے. یہ جدید، قلب نیا ہونا چاہیے. Revive and refresh and renew your heart. And خلقان الثياب، کپڑے پھٹے پرانے بوسیدہ کوئی پڑی نہیں ہے. یہ کیا روز روز نئے کپڑے، استری ٹاٹ. پرانے کپڑے والے رہو، کپڑے پرانے ہوں کوئی حرج نہیں. دل نیا ہونا چاہیے، دل فریش ہونا چاہیے. اور آسمان والے تمہیں پہچانے لیکن زمین والوں پر تم گمنام ہو. The malaika know you, they recognize you because of your zikr, because of your namaz, because of your ibadat, tilawat, going up all the time, and farishtas going high above with your ibadat, so they know you. The people of the heaven know you, but you are hidden on the people of the earth. Abu Darda radiyallahu anhu said, قال Abu Darda radiyallahu anhu, نعم صومعة المرء المسلم بيته يكف لسانه وفرجه وبصره وإياكم ومجلس الأسواق فإنها تلهي وتلغي. Abu Darda said, how beautiful is the monastery of a Muslim in his home. He protects his tongue and his private part and his eyes, and refrain and stay away from the majlis of the markets, from the sessions and sittings of the markets, because they distract a person and force him into laghwiyat and bekar bakwas. نعم صومعة المرء المسلم بیتہ. صومعہ کے معنی ہے عبادت گاہ، مونسٹری. تو انسان کا گھر، his home is his monastery. اپنے گھر کو اپنی عبادت کی جگہ بناؤ. نفل نمازیں اپنے گھروں میں پڑھو، قرآن پڑھو اپنے گھروں میں، تلاوت، عبادت، اذکار، اوراد. اس میں اپنی زبان کنٹرول میں رکھو. You keep yourself to yourself. Your tongue is under control. فرجہ، شرمگاہ کنٹرول میں ہو، نگاہ کنٹرول میں ہو. اور دیکھو بازاری مجلسوں سے پرہیز کرنا، اس لیے کہ وہاں بیکار باتیں بہت ہوتی ہیں، لغویات، اور وہ ڈسٹریکشن بہت ہوتا ہے اس میں. وقال داؤد طائی فر من الناس کما تفر من الاسد. حضرت داؤد طائی رحمۃ اللہ علیہ، he is a student of Imam Abu Hanifa رحمۃ اللہ علیہ. He was a great عابد زاہد. He used to cry a lot. بہت بڑے صوفی تھے. کسی نے ان سے کہا کہ آپ جو ہیں یہ پانی میں بھگوئی ہوئی روٹی جلدی جلدی کھا لیتے ہیں، تو ذرا اچھی طرح آرام سے اطمینان سے کھائیں. تو انہوں نے کہا کہ میں نے اندازہ لگایا تو جتنی دیر اس طرح اس کو ڈپ کر کے کھانے میں टाइम लगता है, इतनी देर में मेरी 50 तस्बीहात हो जाती है। अगर मैं ये पानी में भिगोई हुई रोटी ऐसे ही खा लूं तो उसमें और उसमें टाइम डिफरेंस 50 तस्बीहात है, तो मैं क्यों अपनी 50 तस्बीहात का टाइम वेस्ट करूं। ये दाऊद ताई रहमतुल्लाह अलैह थे। तो वो कहते हैं फिर्र मिनन नास कमा तफिर्रु मिनल असद, लोगों से इस तरफ भागो जैसे शेर से भागते हैं। Run away from people like you run away from a lion. If a lion was to approach, you'd run for your life. So run away from people. लोगों के साथ कुछ लेना देना मत रखो, तन्हाई, गोशा नशीनी, सॉलिट्यूड में रहो। वक़ाल अबू मुहल्हल अख़ज़ बियदी सुफियान अस-सौरी व अख़रजनी इलल जबाना, Sufyan Thawri grabbed hold of my hand and took me out to the outskirts. فَاعْتَزَلْنَا نَاحِيَةً, and we stayed away in one corner. فَبَكَى, then he cried. ثم قال يا مهلهل إن استطعت ألا تخالد في زمانك أحدا فافعل وليكن همك مرمة جهازك. Muhalhal, if you have the ability to not associate with anyone in your time, then do so. And your worry should be the repairing of your provisions, the rectifying. अपने अगर हो सके तो किसी के साथ मिक्स मत होना, और तुम्हें हर वक्त फिक्र ये होनी चाहिए कि मेरी आखिरत के लिए तैयारियां क्या हैं, तैयारियों के लिए मरम्मत करते रहना। ये सब दलाइल तो पहली पार्टी के हैं, जो क्या कहते हैं कि तन्हाई में रहो, अकेले रहो। इसीलिए हम कहते हैं एतिकाफ में बैठो, सिट इन एतिकाफ, और एतिकाफ में भी ट्राई एंड कीप योरसेल्फ टू योरसेल्फ, और अपने मामूलात की पाबंदी वगैरह करो इत्मीनान के साथ, सुकून के साथ। आगे वम्मा हुज्जतु मन इख्तार अल मुखालतता फमिन ज़ालिका क़ौलु नबी सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम अल मुमिनु अल्लज़ी युखालितु अन्नास व यस्बिरु अला अज़ाहुम खैरुन मिन अल्लज़ी ला युखालितुहुम व ला यस्बिरु अला अज़ाहुम. The evidence and dalil of those who prefer mixing with people like Sa'id bin Musayyib, Shurayh and Sha'bi and Ibn al-Mubarak and others is the hadith. A mu'min who mixes with people and does sabr on their abuse is better than a mu'min who does not mix with people and does not do sabr on their abuse. واحتجوا بأشياء غير ذلك ضعيفة لا تقوم بها حجة على ذلك. Some other dalail which are ضعيف منها قول الله تعالى ولا تكونوا كالذين تفرقوا واختلفوا. They put forward in the dalil, do not be like those who dispersed and separated. وهذا ضعيف. But to take dalil from here is ضعيف لأن المراد تفرق الآلاء آراء والمذاهب في أصل الشريعة. واحتجوا أيضا بقوله صلى الله عليه وسلم لا هجرة فوق ثلاث, no abandoning for more than 3 days. وقالوا العزلة هجر بالكلية. They said that staying in solitude is abandoning people بالكلية, in totality. लेकिन ابن قدامة says وهذا ضعيف. This istidlal is ضعيف لأن المراد به قطع الكلام والسلام والمخالطة المعتادة. Because the meaning of the hadith is to cut off kalam, salam and the normal mixing. If you leave that, then that is not right. बस ये दलीलें हो गई. فصل في ذكر فوائد العزلة وغوائلها وكشف الحق في فضلها. This chapter is about the benefits of solitude and the perils of it, and exposing the truth in its virtue. اعلم أن اختلاف الناس في هذا إذن هو كاختلافهم في فضيلة النكاح والعزوبة، وقد ذكرنا أن ذلك يختلف باختلاف الأحوال والأشخاص، فكذلك نحن فيما نقول فيما نحن فيه. Know that the ikhtilaf in this is similar to the ikhtilaf of fuqaha and Sufiya regarding nikah, fazilat, and the fazilat of uzubat and celibacy. And we've mentioned this, that differs according to the difference of halat and ashkhas. Similarly, over here we will say regarding that, فَلْنَذْكُرْ أَوَّلًا فَوَائِدَ الْعُزْلَةِ وَهِيَ سِتٌّ. The benefits of uzlat are 6. Number 1, al-faragh lil-ibadah. Number two, التخلص بالعزلة عن المعاصي. Number three, الخلاص من الفتن والخصومات. Four, الخلاص من شر الناس. And five, أن ينقطع طمع الناس عنك. And six, الخلاص من مشاهدة الثقلاء والحمقى. We'll go over them. First is, when you are alone, you get free time for ibadat. والاستئناس بمناجاة الله. You get manus with intimacy with Allah. When you're alone, so you get familiar with talking to Allah, munajat. Because when you're with people, your mind is always distracted and you don't talk to Allah. But when you're alone, then you can worship Allah as well, and you can talk to Allah, you can make lots of du'as in your solitude. فإن ذلك يستدعي فراغا ولا فراغ مع المخالطة. Because ibadat and munajat needs freedom, free time. And there is no freedom when you're mixing with people. فالعزلة وسيلة إلى ذلك خصوصا في البداية. So solitude is a means of this farig waqt and getting connected with Allah, especially in the ibtida, where in the beginning of a murid suluk. When a murid is going on this path of suluk, then in the beginning he needs this farig waqt and to stay alone so he can get familiar with the munajat of Allah. قيل لبعض الحكماء إلى أي شيء أفضى بهم الزهد والخلوة. One of the wise men was asked, where did zuhd and khalwat take people? What is the point of zuhd, asceticism, abstinence, and what is the point of khalwat and solitude? Where did it take them? قال, he replied, إلى الأنس بالله. They became manus and familiar with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by the solitude and tanhai. قال ويس القرني رحمه الله ما كنت أرى أن أحدا يعرف ربه فيأنس بغيره. I would not think that a person would get the ma'rifat and gnosis of his Rabb and then he feels manus with anyone else. Allahu Akbar. Allah ki ma'rifat jab hasil ho jaye na, so you feel unsiyat with Allah. You feel yourself familiar. You feel yourself talking with Allah. So this unsiyat, when you get the ma'rifat of Allah, gnosis of Allah, you don't want people to be around you. You want to be alone. There are some people who like to have company. Lots of people around them. Majma, bir bar, majlis, hasi mazak. But when you get the ma'rifat of Allah, you don't feel all that. You want to be alone. You want nobody to be around you. Like Daud Ta'i said, you want to be on solitude and you want to run away from people like people run away from a lion. So Uwais Qarni said, ما كنت أرى أن أحدا يعرف ربه فيأنس بغيره واعلم أن من تيسر له بدوام الذكر الأنس بالله أو بدوام الفكر تحقيق معرفة الله فالتجرد لذلك أفضل من كل ما يتعلق بالمخالطة. Know that if it is made easy for someone by continuous zikr, that he becomes ma'nus and familiar and friendly with Allah, and with continuous fikr and contemplating, he gets the reality of the ma'rifat and gnosis of Allah. Then know that for such a person, staying alone and tajarrud is better and most virtuous than anything that one can say about ikhtilat and mukhalatat and staying among the people. Al-fa'idatu thaniya. Second benefit. What was the first benefit? When you stay in solitude, al-faragh lil-ibadat wal-isti'nas bi-munajatillah. When you're alone, you get freedom of worship and you get manus with Allah. Our Hazrat मौलाना यूसुफ मुताला साहब रहमतुल्लाह अलैह पहले ही से पढ़ने के जमाने से he was a very lonely person. He liked loneliness. He would like to stay alone. Maulana Anwar Alam Sahab came here from Bihar and he saw Hazrat's bayans and published, and he heard some of his bayans and he said, ये मौली यूसुफ कब से बोलते हो गए? ये हजरत शेख की यहाँ तो बिल्कुल गुमसुम बैठे रहते थे, ना किसी से कुछ बोलते थे ना बात करते थे, उनसे बुलवाने के लिए मेहनत करनी पड़ती थी तब वो बोलते थे, वरना वो तो बोलते ही नहीं थे, बहुत खामोश तबीयत थे. So in the ibtida beginning, you have to have that khamoshi, loneliness, and you get familiar, manus with Allah and munajat with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Second faida, التخلص بالعزلة عن المعاصي التي يتعرض لها الإنسان غالبا بالمخالطة. You escape with solitude from those sins which normally most of the time a person comes across due to mixing. وَهِيَ أَرْبَعَةٌ, and those sins are four. Meaning when you stay alone, you keep yourself to yourself, then you escape from four types of sins which happen by mixing with people. And what are the four types? أحدها الغيبة. Ghibat. First sin when you mix with people is ghibat, backbiting. When you're alone, you don't talk to anyone, you've escaped that ghibat. Because you stay in the masjid, you do your tasbihat, you read your Quran, you don't backbite anyone. So the first thing you escape from is ghibat. فَإِنَّ عَادَةَ النَّاسِ التَّمَضْمُضُ بِالْأَعْرَاضِ وَالتَّفَقُّهُ بِهَا. Because it is the habit of people that they do kulli with the honors of people, and they get a buzz out of it. They gargle their mouths with people's izzat and honors, and they get tafakkuh. Tafakkuh ke mana enjoy. They enjoy ghibat. Gossip is juicy. Ghibat is juicy, it's tasty. Just like we enjoy fawakeh and fruit. So from fawakeh is the word tafakkuh, that they enjoy the ghibat. فإن خالطتهم ووافقتهم أثمت وتعرضت لسخط الله تعالى وإن سكت كنت شريكا فإن المستمع أحد المغتابين وإن أنكرت أبغضوك واغتابوك فازدادوا غيبة إلى الغيبة وربما خرجوا إلى الشتم. Now, if you were to mix with people and you agreed with them in that ghibat, then you become sinful, you incur sin, and you offer yourself and present yourself to the wrath and anger of Allah. Because Allah will be angry with them, He will be angry with you. And if you were to remain silent upon what they did, then you will be partner of them in that ghibat. Because the listener of the ghibat is also one ghibat doer and backbiter. And if you were to object on them and say this is wrong, you shouldn't be doing ghibat, then they will hate you and they will do your ghibat as well. And their ghibat will increase upon the ghibat. And sometimes they will reach to the level of insult and abuse, and they will insult you and abuse you as well. So the best thing is to stay away from people so you can stay away from ghibat. And ghibat cannot just be verbal. Ghibat can be on mobile as well, on WhatsApp, on text, on here and there, on other social medias, platforms. So even if you are alone but you're on your mobile and you're texting bad stuff about other people, that's still ghibat. Even if you were just to someone, you're in i'tikaf, let's say, and there is this person who's sleeping a lot, and you say, "Pelo bohungo gade," that's ghibat as well. Or you were to say, "He eats too much," that's ghibat as well. Or you were to say, "He never does any ibadat," that's ghibat as well. So you're doing ghibat in the house of Allah. That's even worse. So, ghibat is a terrible thing. Allah hates it when you dive into honors of people and you dishonor them, disrespect them, criticize them, you talk bad about them behind their backs. So, there is so much about ghibat. Hazrat Shaykh Rahmatullah talks about it. So, he's saying when you're alone, you keep yourself to yourself. You don't do ghibat about anyone. You don't backbite anyone. You save yourself from ghibat. الثانية الأمر بالمعروف والنهي عن المنكر فإن من خالط الناس لم يخلو عن مشاهدة المنكرات فإن سكت عصى الله وإن أنكر تعرض لأنواع من الضرر وفي العزلة سلامة من هذا. Second duty of ours is Amar bil Ma'ruf Nahi Anil Munkar. Now, when a person mixes with people, then he will not be free from seeing some munkarat, some things which go against Sharia. Now, if he stays quiet, then he is disobeying Allah by not doing nakir and objecting on it. And if he objects on it, then he presents himself to various types of harms. And when you stay alone, you are safe from this. This is very clear that when you see something wrong, you're supposed to say, but this is wrong, don't do it. And sometimes in this day and age, we cannot say this even in our homes, to our family members. डर लगता है बेगम को कहूंगा तो बेगम नाराज हो जाएगी, बच्चे को कहूंगा तो बच्चा नाराज हो जाएगा. हालांकि you're supposed to tell them, this is wrong, begum, this is wrong, don't do this. Now, when you're staying with people, they will be doing many wrong things. And if you don't correct them, then you will be sinful. And if you do correct them, then they will mock you, they will make fun of you. So, staying away from people is the safest option. Number 3, riya. Third thing which you can save yourself from by uzlat is riya, showing off. Because when you tend to stay with people, you tend to show off as well. You do something just for show, so people see that I'm doing it. وهو الداء العضال الذي يعصر الاحتراز منه. لا इलाज बीमारी है, मुश्किल है इससे परहेज करना. وأول ما في مخالطة الناس إظهار التشوق إليهم ولا يخلو ذلك عن الكذب إما في الأصل وإما في الزيادة. وقد كان السلف يحترزون في جواب قول القائل كيف أصبحت وكيف أمسيت كما قال بعضهم وقد قيل له كيف أصبحت قال أصبحنا ضعفاء مذنبين نأكل أرزاقنا وننتظر آجالنا. واعلم أنه إذا كان سؤال السائل لأخيه كيف أصبحت لا يبعثه عليه شفقة ولا محبة كان تكلفا ورياء وربما سأله وفي القلب ضغن وحقد يورث أن يعلم فساد حاله وفي العزلة الخلاص عن هذا لأنه من لقي الخلق ولم يخالقهم بأخلاقهم مقتوه واستثقلوه واغتابوه ويذهب دينهم فيه ويذهب دينه ودنياه في الانتقام منهم. Riya. When you stay alone, you escape showing off, which is an uncurable disease, and staying away from riya is very hard. And the first thing that is in mixing with people is to express your shock and desire to them. And this tashawwuq and your desire expressing to them is not free from lies. There is some lie in there. Either there is lie in the asal shock and desire for them, or you lie in the ziyadati and increase of it when there is little bit of shock. Salaf used to stay away from answering the question of someone who said, how are you this morning? How are you this evening? Like some of them replied on the question of كيف أصبحت? He said, أصبحنا ضعفاء مذنبين. We've woken up this morning, we are weak in our deen and we are sinful. We are na'kulu arzaqana wa nantadhiru ajalana. We eat our rizq and wait for our death. Know that when a sa'il's su'al to his brother is kayfa asbahta, and this is not due to some shafqat and muhabbat for them, then that will be takalluf, pretension and riya, showing off. Sometimes a person asks this question whilst in his heart there is some hatred and malice, and he, due to that hatred, is trying to know the ruin of the person. And when the person says, "Oh, I'm in a terrible state," and this and that, and he laughs at him. And when you stay away from people, you escape all this. Because when a person meets people and he does not take up their behavior and be like them, then they mock him and they take him to be a burden on them, and they backbite him, and their deen is destroyed in him, and his deen and dunya is destroyed if he takes revenge from them. So the third bimari and problem which you escape with uzlat is riyakari, doing things to show people. When you stay with people, you have to do something just because of show, just because for the sake of doing it. You're doing it because for the sake of doing it. So rather than show off to people what you're doing, just stay away from people, keep yourself to yourself. And this is in the fourth point, musaraqatu taba' min akhlaqihim ar-radiyya, which we will cover tomorrow if Allah wills, inshallah. ठीक है जी, बस अब आधा घंटा रह गया है. कुरान शरीफ पढ़ें और उसके बाद दुआ करें. ये है ये एतिकाफ का फायदा, समझ लीजिए. अल्लाह वाले जो होते थे उनको तन्हाई, गोशा नशीनी बहुत अच्छी लगती थी. उनकी कोशिश यही होती थी कि भाई हम तन्हा अकेले रहें, किसी से बातचीत न करें, अपने काम से काम. एतिकाफ में इसीलिए बिठाते हैं ताकि हमें तन्हाई का शौक पैदा हो जाए, अकेले रहने का शौक पैदा हो जाए. और एतिकाफ जो है ये जैसे जेंट्स मस्जिद में करते हैं तो लेडीज घर में कर सकती हैं. एक कमरा डेजिग्नेट कर दें, वो उनकी मस्जिद, उसमें उनका मुसल्ला, उसमें उनका सोना, उठना, बैठना, पढ़ना, खाना, पीना, उसे बाहर ना निकलें. न किचन में जाएं, न किसी और रूम में जाएं, न कपड़ा इस्त्री करने के लिए जाएं, बल्कि उसी रूम में रहें. घर में किसी से कह दें कि खाना पका कर वहां पहुंचा दें, और या कोई बंदोबस्त कर दे, बाहर से कोई खाना पका के दे जाए टाइम टू टाइम, और बस अपना काम से काम करती रहे, इबादत करें. तो घर में बैठकर उनको एतिकाफ का सवाब मिल जाएगा. मर्दों के लिए तो मुश्किल है मस्जिद में आना, बैठना, लोगों के बीच में रहना. औरतों के लिए तो एतिकाफ ज्यादा आसान है. बहुत सी औरतें एतिकाफ करती हैं माशाअल्लाह अपने घरों में, जहाँ और बच्चियां होती हैं, बहू होती हैं, बेटी होती है, खाना पका के दे देती है, तो अम्मी जो है वो एतिकाफ में बैठ जाती हैं 10 दिन के लिए, अपने काम से काम, खूब कुरान पढ़ती हैं, जिक्र करती हैं, अल्लाह अल्लाह करती हैं. शर्त ये कि मोबाइल पर न जाए, मोबाइल एक तरफ रख दें, 10 दिन के लिए मोबाइल की छुट्टी कर दें, वरना मोबाइल पे आदमी जो है बहुत गुनाह कर बैठता है. तो इसलिए मोबाइल से एहतियात करें और एतिकाफ करें तो इनका भी फायदा होगा इंशाअल्लाह. तन्हाई में बहुत फायदा है. असल में उसमें शेख शिहाबुद्दीन सोहरवर्दी ने लिखा है कि आदमी का कल्ब जो है उसकी सफाई के लिए उसको रिफ्लेक्शन की जरूरत है. और बहुत मिक्सिंग वाली लाइफ हो तो ये रिफ्लेक्शन का चांस नहीं मिलता, लेकिन तन्हाई में बैठे तो फिर रिफ्लेक्ट करने का टाइम मिलता है, और तफक्कुर और पॉन्डरिंग से कल्ब जो है वो साफ होता है, क्लीन हो जाता है, धुल जाता है, उसकी प्योरिफिकेशन, डिटॉक्सिफाई हो जाता है. जैसे बॉडी का डिटॉक्सिफिकेशन होता है, कल्ब का भी डिटॉक्सिफिकेशन होता है. तो आदमी जब तन्हाई में बैठता है, अपने काम से काम, अपने अल्लाह से गुफ्तगू, अपने अल्लाह से बातचीत, तो उसका his heart is detoxified, cleansed and purified. So this is why Sufi Kiram urge people to sit in solitude, sit in i'tikaf. Nabi Pak Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam used to sit in i'tikaf. Even before i'tikaf, he used to go to Ghar-e Hira. That is even before Islam, before Wahi. Wahi आने से पहले, क्योंकि ये अरब की आदत थी. हुजूर के चचा भी, दादा भी कभी कभी कुछ दिन के लिए गार में चले जाते थे. और इस गारे हिरा में आपके दादा भी और चचा भी जाते थे. लेकिन जब हुजूर ने जाना शुरू किया तो आपके चचाओं ने गारे हिरा को आपके लिए छोड़ दिया. वो पहाड़ों में और गार थे, गारे सौर था और गार थे. उन्होंने कहा हम दूसरे गार में चले जाएंगे, गारे हिरा को मोहम्मद के लिए रहने दो. तो हुजूर वहां चले जाते थे. कभी हफ्ता, शरा, 10 दिन, कभी 2 हफ्ते उसमें रहते थे. जस्ट स्टे देयर, बस चुपचाप, कुछ भी कहीं, और खामोशी. अब बताओ साहब, पहाड़ की चोटी जिसके ऊपर चढ़ने में इट टेक्स 1.5 to 2 hours टू क्लाइंब, और इतना टाइम टू कम डाउन. अब जो है उस पहाड़ पे न कोई आदम है न आदम जात, और 24 घंटे रात का अंधेरा भी वहां और दिन का उजाला भी वहां, गर्मी भी वहां, सर्दी भी वहां. अब हुजूर कैसे उसमें टाइम गुजारते होंगे. हमको तो घबरा छूटे, 10 मिनट में ही घबरा छूटने लगे. लेकिन हुजूर को उसमें मजा आता था. He felt nice because he knew that he's sitting with Allah. He's drawing himself closer and closer and closer and closer to Allah. He used to worship Allah according to what was remaining tasbihat waghera from Ibrahim alayhi salam's deen and sharia. And he felt that proximity. When he reached that stage, when he was ready to receive the wahi from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that is when the time was ready. That's when Iqra Bismi came. It did not happen just overnight. Allah Pak slowly, gradually brought him to that. Maybe for 6 months, he used to see through dreams, achhe khab, dreams. And sometimes in those 6 months, when he used to go to Ghar-e Hira, he used to hear from the shajar and hajar saying things. Sometimes the trees would say to him, Assalamu alaikum. So he would look around, there's nobody there. The voice was coming from the tree. So slowly he used to hear voices. He used to see Anwar, Noor. Yasma'u Sawt wa yara Dhaw is in the hadith of Muslim. He could see Roshni and light. He knew that this is something from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when he was ready and that khalwat in Tanhai, he reached that stage, that is when Iqra Bismi came. And then Nabi Pak sallallahu alaihi wasallam's solitude and uzlat increased and increased till the extent that he got to a stage which is called Khalwat Dar Jalwat. Khalwat Dar Jalwat. Tanhai in Majma. You are sitting among people, but you are alone. Because your heart and mind is not with the people. Your heart and mind is connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is called Khalwat Dar Anjuman in Sufiya's istilah. Khalwat Dar Anjuman. This is when you get to that stage. This is why when Nabi Pak Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam came to Medina Sharif and he is mixed with people, he has to do a lot of work, but he didn't give up that Khalwat Dar Anjuman. Even when he is in Majma, they are talking, but he is busy in his zikr, in his tasbih, in his istighfar. Abu Sa'id Khudri says in one majlis we would count 100 istighfars from Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. This is why Arif ibn Abi Jamrah rahmatullah alayhi writes that Nabi Pak Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam's khalwat in the beginning was in Ghar-e Hira. But later on, even at night, Hazrat Aisha is sleeping by his side, his beautiful young wife. But he says, Da'ini a'budu Rabbi. Let me worship my Rabb. And he gets up, he does wuzu, and he is enjoying his connection with his Creator. So even when someone is by him, his khalwat and his tanhai connection of the heart is not affected. His heart is still connected to Allah. So for the beginning, he had to go to Ghar-e Hira to get that khalwat and solitude. But later on, that khalwat, that anjuman, even when he is around people, he's still gaining the benefits of that khalwat. Though, even at that time, he used to do i'tikaf. Sometimes he used to go on the outskirts, even in those times in Medina as well. There is one hadith in Abu Dawud that Nabi Pak Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said to Aisha, Aisha, prepare some, provision, tosha for me. I'm going to Badawa. I'm going outside on the outskirts. And then he left. and he stayed there for a few days, told someone to look after salat and everything. So from time to time, even then, he loved going out and staying alone. So this is khalwat, and these are the benefits of khalwat, which is mentioned over here. May Allah give us tawfiq to develop this love for khalwat and solitude, and to sit in i'tikaf and do i'tikaf properly and gain maximum benefit from the i'tikaf. I'tikaf will start from inshallah Thursday night, and that's the 21st night, and the 21st night and Friday night as well. And Hafiz ibn Hajar said, if Friday night and odd nights coincide in last Ashra, then there is more possibility of Laylatul Qadr. So there might be possibility of the 21st night being Laylatul Qadr. So don't wait for the 27th. Start your ibadah from the 21st night. Sit in i'tikaf, in the house of Allah. Do ibadah. Spend the whole night in ibadah, or most hours. You can sleep during the day, but at night time, spend your time in ibadat and worship to get the thawab of Laylatul Qadr, which is khayrun min alfi shahr. Ibadat in Laylatul Qadr is better than ibadat in 1000 months. May Allah give us tawfiq. Sorry for taking too much time. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Sallallahu sallam ala sayyidina Muhammad wa alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Allah give us benefit from what's been said. Accept our sitting over here. Give us love for solitude and gosha nashini and tanhai and uzlat, and give us the benefits of uzlat and khalwat and gosha nashini. Bi rahmatika ya arhamar rahim.